assistant here, producer, helping me because Chris told me that we weren't streaming. I was using Streamlabs and I was trying to do a couple things that Streamlabs allows me to do. Hot chocolate provided by ECP. All right. So thank you, ECP. They are my moderator, and he's the one that told me that we were not broadcasting. So we're going to start again. I think that may have been uploading to a different event somewhere on YouTube. So it's out there if you want to see it. So welcome. Hey, my name is Jeff. This is Jeff Ball Photography. And we are graciously being hosted by ECP at their property to access the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Now, granted, the media made this appear to be a one-night event last night, the 21st. Of course, we've had horrible weather here for the last month. We had a really nice November, but December's been pretty rough. But tonight, as you can see, this is our window of opportunity to access the conjunction. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I want to welcome you. Join me here as we go through the night. We're going to also do some observing of the moon. So you're going to have to pardon me while I try to keep the moon centered here in my telescope, because we've got some great views of the moon right now. And I think you're going to want to, matter of fact, we might start with that. I can't quite see the planets yet, so we will work on this. So I have some other things for us to look at as the night goes. What I want to do is if you watch my channel, you know I'm a big advocate for using binoculars. Most people feel like they need a telescope to really do astronomy. And this event is one of those, again, that really benefits from binoculars. And if you've watched my channel, you know I'm a big fan of these 15 by 50 image stabilized Canons, but it doesn't matter. Use whatever binoculars you have in your possession. 7 by 50s are great for astronomy. 10 by 50s are great, but you can do so much with astronomy. I wish I could show you the view through these binoculars of the moon and of the planets. Hey, Eric, welcome. Oh, that's great. I'm glad you had good weather last night. We've just been socked in with clouds for, it seems like, ever since the new moon we did have a few windows, new moon last November. But I'm great. I'm glad you got to see it. That's great. And yeah, we're going to go over what this event actually is. I have some information for you there on what we're looking at. And but I wanted to also show you some of the gear that we're using while we still have some daylight to take in the conjunction. So this will be one of the pieces we're going to use, and right now we have a really nice view of the moon. Stay tuned here. We're going to have a little moon tour, but this is a pretty high resolution image. This is a Astro-Physics Stowaway. It's a 92 millimeter objective. It's about a 600 millimeter refractor. But what we do is put a Barlow lens right here and double the magnification. Thanks, Eric. Oh man, yeah. We're probably getting your weather tonight that you had last night. So this Barlow takes this whole focal length, that image train, from 600 to up to about 1200 millimeters focal length. So if you can imagine, this is about a 1200 millimeter camera lens, basically. And the camera I put on here, it is an astronomical camera. It doesn't have to be, but this is just one of the cameras in my arsenal. It's a ZWO ASI 294 MC Pro. So it's a color camera. It has a Bayer matrix, but we open that up and just checking to see if we still got the moon. Yeah, I'll show you the moon here in a second. Then for a little bit wider field of view, just dovetailing with what we were talking about for binocular use, this is a 250 millimeter refractor. It's called the William Optics Redcat 51. And this is great for replicating almost a binocular type view. So this will be a wide field of view. We can actually zoom in on this as well and get some nice, very nice views. But this will be kind of the instrument I use to show you what the wide fields of view are going to be looking like throughout the night. And it looks like my wife is joining us. So we have our assistant, and let me center up the moon here, because in a minute, this is the view I'm going to show you. All right. So we're going to do some moon observing until we really get the conjunction up and running. Trying to provide some soundtrack for you for the evening. Let me get that centered up again. Okay. Now I want to also show you what we're doing to broadcast. If you watched my broadcast video, unfortunately, I can't really get all of the network connections to sync up with the iPad. So I'm relying on the cellular network broadcast here. And I'm going to be showing you a screenshot with the iPhone. And we're just broadcasting directly from the iPhone over YouTube. So that's a little change we had. I am wirelessly connected to this camera, to both cameras actually. And that was part of the problem, is I couldn't really get the networking to work with a wireless connection. So let's dive into exactly what it is we're viewing tonight. Let me show you what that looks like. Got a lot of buttons on the iPhone to hit. Let's see, what time is it? It's 5:25. So what we're looking at, this is our view to the southwest. And we're going to be viewing Jupiter and Saturn here, right here on December 22nd. Let me show you the difference between the 22nd and the 21st. Here's the 22nd. There's the 21st. You see, the media just makes it all out to be like a one-night event, but the planets move very slowly. And so it's more than just a one-night event. Matter of fact, last night, I believe we were at 6 arc minutes of separation. I'm going to go into that in a little bit, what arc minutes are and things like that. But this is our view. This is hopefully going to be our view here in just a few minutes. I know I had to start a new broadcast, hon. It's on my channel. I know. Let me keep a view of the moon in here for you. And in just a little bit, I'm going to go over these features that we're seeing on the moon. But while you're viewing the moon, I want to read to you some material that I think really describes the conjunction well. And this comes from space.com, and the author is Joe Rao, and he did a great job of writing an article about this conjunction. So as you know, Jupiter and Saturn, actually Jupiter takes 12 years to make a full circle in the heavens, spend the year visiting each zodiacal sign in the sky, while Saturn takes 29.5 years to make one full trip around the sun. So because of this slow movement, a conjunction to the ancients, a celestial summit meeting, was rather unusual. Such get-togethers happen, in most cases, about every 20 years on average. Usually when Jupiter and Saturn line up, they're separated by about 1 degree, or twice the apparent diameter of the moon. So the moon is about 30 arc minutes angular in size on the sky. And so the 30 arc minutes are a half a degree. So as you know, yesterday, the two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, were separated by 6 arc minutes. That's 0.1 degrees, or about 1/5 the apparent width of the moon. Now we know we have a pretty high resolution image of the moon right now on the screen, and I'm going to show you what these features are here in a second. I don't think people were seeing the two planets merged as one star yesterday. I think most people were still visually able to keep that separation. But how often do these two planets come as close as that? Some websites say it's been nearly 400 years, while others say it's been almost 800. Well, you have to kind of consider a couple of things. How viewable are the conjunctions? And the last time these two planets appeared this close was in 1623. They were 5 arc minutes apart, but the problem is it was really only viewable in the tropics. You couldn't see it in the temperate latitudes like New York, Paris, or Tokyo. So many consider that the most accessible conjunction to the world's population was in 1226. So that's why if you read much about this, that people were using 800 years as the timeline. And that conjunction was only 2 arc minutes of separation. And guess what? When Jupiter and Saturn approached within 6 arc minutes of each other during the time frame from 1 AD to 3000 AD, that gives us an average conjunction of about every 300 years for that type of arc minute separation. But considering again whether or not the population can view the conjunction, that time frame goes to about 800 years to be able to see this type of a conjunction when you're talking about arc minutes of separation, like 5, 6 arc minutes or less. So let me show you a wide field view of the moon. Okay, let me show you what a view would look like through binoculars. I had to get the Wi-Fi, boot it back up again. There we go. Okay, let me go change the exposure a little bit. Okay, so this would be approximately your view through a pair of binoculars, 7x50 binoculars. Now, as you can see here, we're able to zoom in with the okay. So that's with the 250 millimeter focal length. Roughly a first quarter moon. We're just past it. I think we're about an 8-day-old moon here. Let's go back to Sky Safari. Now that field of view you see here, the square, that's the field of view of our longer focal length telescope. So that should closely approximate our view of the moon tonight. This is Mare Crisium. Let's go back and see if we can see that one. Okay, I guess we lost our connection to the camera. Well, I tell you what happens is I think the ASI Air, yeah, it wants to fight for that Wi-Fi. So we will give in to the ASI Air, and we will just go back to our little higher resolution shot. I'll zoom in on that Mare Crisium area. There it is. Oops. Get back there. There it is. That's Mare Crisium. Let me change the exposure a little bit. There we go. So yeah, this one right here is Mare Crisium, just like we saw. So the moon obviously has the Mare, which are volcanic features associated with the moon. And one of my favorites are the Apennine Mountains. Let's see if we can get those into view. Yeah, right here. I believe this is the kind of the Apennine Mountains. Let me change that exposure a little bit. Let's go back to Safari. Zoom in here. So this is the feature we're viewing right here. Oh, come on, Safari, give me the... May not give it to me. Montes Apenninus. That's what they're going to call it. Hadley Rima. So yeah, these Mons Hadley. It's a mountain, Hadley. So let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so that's the Sky Safari view of the Apennine Mountains. And those are fantastic. I just love those. There. Yeah, those are fantastic. Can you imagine that? I'll tell you, the view that looks fantastic is if you're at the telescope. Oh, I see Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, we're going to get over to them here in a second. Got them, Mama? Well, why see them right there? Right above, off the front of that porch there. Okay. And again, here, you want to look through these binoculars. This is the view, to be quite honest. Oh yeah. Okay, you're gonna have to maybe adjust the focus. But I know where I'm looking at. See him? See where the jet trail is? It's just up above it. Sorry, everybody. We got excited. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is work on getting the planets in the scope here. So in the meantime,
it's higher up than I thought it'd be.
It is up higher than I thought. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to the...
Can you see your chat?
I'm going to go... No.
I just wondered.
It's just... Okay, I'm going to work on...
It looks good, though. It all looks good. Hey, everybody, I got a few of my peeps in here. Pretty neat having all this in your side yard. Yeah, it's coming up, Jeff, on your screen here. It's like if I say something, you click on that, you can make me a mod on your phone. But I have to get my phone to talk. Get my phone.
Okay, I'm going to work on...
It looks good, though. It all looks good. Hey, everybody, I got a few of my peeps in here. Pretty neat having all this in your side yard. Yeah, it's coming up, Jeff, on your screen here. It's like if I say something, you click on that, you can make me a mod on your phone. But I have to get my phone to talk.
Oh, they are.
I want to see them through that, but I can't see anything through there. They're too far apart.
What do you mean they're too far apart?
Well, I can see up close really good, but I can't see.
Oh, here, I'll show you how to bring that together.
So is your mic here, Jeff?
It's on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just added me, Jeff.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Little delay there in it. I'm blue, Jeff.
All right, Chris, like I said, I touched on you the other day, and I have no idea what I did.
I fixed it.
All right, so we're working on. All right, so this will be the wide field view. Hang in there, I got it coming. That'll be kind of cool to see. So I need to keep that.
Now, Mark,
nice.
if that's on your cell phone, turn the volume down all the way.
Okay. Thank you for hanging in there with me. We are going to.
Because otherwise, we're going to see that delay and it'll keep going back. Sounds good, guys. Looks great, Jeff. Looks great.
All right, it's going to get good here now.
It's going to be awesome.
Let me get the wide field view. I'm going to get that going. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're very happy to have you. This is a lot of technology to try to get to work in a remote location. And so there are challenges. And I thank you for being patient with us. I think we're going to give you a nice view of the, okay, live view. And come on, rotate. There we go. Okay, let me change that exposure a little bit. But, okay, I think you can see this is a wide field view. All right. If you remember the telescope we were using on the moon a minute ago, we really had, we're going to have a much higher resolution view here in a minute. There we go. I think that's good. Yeah. Well, the other camera's going to be my main zoom. Yeah, I think that's. No, this is as close as they're going to be. They'll keep separating over the next few nights. So obviously we have Jupiter here, and you can see. I think you can see 4 of the Galilean moons. Now this is a zoom in on a short refractor telescope. So I'm going to let you take in this view, and I'm going to work on getting it in the longer focal length telescope. All right. Let's see how far off this is going to be. I'm just going to try to go to here. I know I'm going to be pretty far off. But it will get me fairly close. Here. Yeah. So the eye cups are too close for you, probably?
I can't see.
All right. Well, now the focus is way off. I'm leaving my... So I got the focus for 2020. Then you want to have this button on because that does the image stabilization. That really helps. And then if you need to separate the eye cup, the eyes a little bit, you can you rotate down here. See that right there?
Yeah.
All right, that gets you to where your eye width is. Okay. Yeah, that view in the binoculars is fantastic.
Except I'm shivering. That's good. That's a good shot.
Okay, I'm going to ask for your patience here again. We're going to go to the longer focal length telescope, and this is going to take a little bit of work to really dial in the finding it, because since we don't have a polar aligned scope, the go-to doesn't work real well. I'm just very roughly polar aligned. So be patient with me here, and we're going to see if we can find the planets and get us a good view here on the longer focal length. And what I'm going to do is hey Marsh,
Yeah.
you want to take this and just hold it above the, here's our view from the camera. This is my lovely assistant, my wife Marcia. And just hold it here. Oops. There we go. Let's see here. Pretty dark in this, but
Yeah.
if you zoom in. Oops. No. Oh, we didn't. We lost our magnification too. Let me zoom that back out. Actually, we'll be able to do 10x magnification on the camera, and so that'll even be better. It might be a little grainy, but there we go. But you should be able to give everybody a view. And then you can see the Galilean moons. You got to be careful because it'll go out of focus a little bit. So, somewhere about right there. It'll drift a little bit. All you have to do is recenter and touch the screen and move it like that. And maybe I'll pull the exposure down just a bit. Oops, that doesn't do that. And you can't block the viewfinder. So let's just stick with what we got and just hold that there, and I'm going to try to get the longer focal length telescope in view.
We lost magnification. It keeps going.
Yeah. Okay. Sing a song, Marsh.
No, they do not want to hear that. I'll pass. Here comes Chris. He'll talk. He'll entertain the troops. Come on, Chris. We need some entertainment.
All right, Jeff. Stack Attacker wants to know if you've ever seen a UFO while using your equipment.
I have seen weird things. So he can't, the phone's over there.
Okay.
So Stack Attacker, I have seen weird things. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but yeah, I'd put it down into the unexplainable category.
Papa, it went back to... Why is it going back to...
Yeah.
I'm going to get my coat on. It's cold out there.
Yeah.
I gotta get this one.
Okay.
Can't worry about that right now. Stowaway, we're working on getting it in the telescope. One of the things is, I'm an imager. Oops, that might have been it. And I don't have a finder scope anymore. Oh, there it is. Oh goodness, that was good looking. Oh, I gotta get that back. Hold on. You were close. Oh man.
Show you hard at work.
Yeah.
Do I hear a duck?
I had
Oh,
it.
you can't see a
I
thing.
had it. It's gonna be worth it when we get it. Yeah, so I don't have a finder scope anymore because we're so spoiled with what's called plate solving that we just take a picture of the sky where we are and the computers know where we're pointed. You know, I haven't used a viewfinder in years. I really don't want to take the Barlow lens off. I could probably do that, but then I have to find focus again. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. I got a delay in the exposure too. Hang in there with me. I'm working on it. I always seem to have Saturn pop up. I haven't had Jupiter yet. Oh, goodness. Stay right there. Okay. Okay, we got Saturn. It's a beauty. Oh goodness, that looks good. I lost it. Let me shorten my exposure because. Yeah, let me shorten my exposure. Jupiter's a little blown out. There's a little delay in all of that. Okay. Hang in there. We are very close.
Here we go. Just need to get the fire pit going.
True. Yeah, where's
Some marshmallows and hot dogs and hot chocolate and get the star party going in the side yard.
I didn't realize.
That's a neat view. Now everybody knows where I live. They're hitting up GPS coordinates to steal my stack. Oregon Stackers in the house. You got a bunch of my peeps in here, Jeff.
Thank you all for coming out.
Can't
Oh,
wait to
there we
check
go.
it out. I'm excited to see. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff's channel. We got some new subscribers, Jeff.
Thank you all. We are very close to.
Come right on over, Oregon Stacker. A little bit of a drive, though. You can beam me over. Tomorrow's my 50th birthday, says Eric Infeld. And this is the best gift I could receive. Wow, Jeff.
Happy birthday.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Ravenhawk Coin does that.
Happy birthday, dear Eric. Happy birthday to you.
He's got a good voice. That's that church choir.
He does. He has a
Exactly
great
right.
voice.
He doesn't want to hear me. They'll say, don't quit your day job. I don't have a voice for singing. I don't have a voice for radio. You guys just have to bear and live,
All
live
right,
with
Marsh,
it.
bring the phone over.
Okay.
We have both of them in the field of view. Because my field of view is so tight that this is the separation tonight. You know what? Let me see if I can get my screen brightness up. We'll play around a little bit with some exposures here. Let me go up on exposure, because one of the things we want to see is the Galilean moons. Now I am going to have to play around a little bit with which direction to go in to make my adjustment. This is part of the challenge, is we're not polar aligned. So, oh boy, I may have just gone too far. Yeah, my exposure time is delayed. Remember, I'm shooting at f12 here. Well, it's a little bit separate. Basically last night they were 6 arc minutes apart. Tonight they're about 10 arc minutes apart. So, and in great conjunctions, they're 8 minutes apart. So, well, an arc minute. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. 1 arc minute is 1/60th of a degree. So, and we said earlier that the moon is a half a degree. What I want to try to do. There we go. Hopefully that'll help here a little bit.
Who's got the test face?
Okay, we should drift into view here. Now again, one of the things I want to work on is, okay, here we go. We can start to see, hopefully you can see it on the phone. We're starting to see some of the Galilean moons, but let me increase the exposure a little bit more. It's a little bit of delay in that. And hopefully we'll get, you can see this tracking, this progressing of the across the screen is because my polar alignment's not nailed in. But look at the Saturn rings. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
There you go. Let's zoom in. That's actually pretty decent seeing tonight. Part of the issue about seeing the planets is you really want to see them in what's called opposition. Opposition is when they are up at the highest point of the sky around midnight. So when you're looking at them here in the evening twilight, it's getting into that evening haze, twilight haze. So the seeing isn't great. And I have to let the images settle out in between exposures. There we go. Okay, I know the button to push now to keep it centered. And yeah, so this is one of the things I wanted to do. I really wanted to try to show you Jupiter's belt. So let me reduce the exposure. Part of the problem here is to get Saturn exposure for the rings, you have to increase it. And then for Jupiter, it needs to be decreased. So let me see if I can get us a view of Jupiter's belts here. Cloud bands. There are several equatorial bands. Here, I think it's starting to come into view a little bit better. There we go. Start to see the color come in on Jupiter. I'm pretty sure the red spot, the great red spot, is not viewable tonight. It was, I think, 2 nights ago during the conjunction itself. You can see when we start to decrease that exposure for Jupiter what happens. So we start to lose Saturn a little bit. But actually, this is a pretty good exposure for both. We can still see Saturn, and we're starting to see a little bit of definition in Jupiter. So these are the cloud bands that are starting to come out. Let's maybe reduce the exposure just a touch more. I'm transmitting at 1080p. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to sit down because my back is starting to go on me. Okay, there we go. Now if you can see, I know, look, I'm transmitting over a phone from an iPad. I can't zoom in on that anymore. I don't know why it's not letting me. Okay. Yeah, won't let me zoom in. There we go. Okay. Again, it's a little bit of a problem because obviously the planets are really low on the horizon. But you can start to see one of the dominant equatorial belts there of Jupiter. But again, I'm pretty sure if the red spot was visible, we might be able to see it, but I don't think it is visible. But this isn't bad seeing for Jupiter. Again, coming from an iPhone off of an iPad screen. Sorry about that. But that's the best we can do. So let's go back out to our wider field. So there is a pretty good exposure with Jupiter and Saturn. You can still get exposure on that. So let's go back, increase our exposure, and see if we can get all 4 of those Galilean moons to be visible. Now remember, the Galilean moons are, does anybody know what the Galilean moons are? of Jupiter. Yes, you can Google it. We have a lot of missions going to Jupiter's moons and, well, one of Jupiter's moons, I believe, and a Saturn moon. No clue. Hey, Matt. Hey, Stack Attacker. Thank you for joining us. Glad to have you. We're going to try. There we go. They're starting to come in now. Europa. Callisto. Io. And Ganymede. Yeah. Those are the 4 Galilean moons. And let me see if I can get just a little bit more exposure here. Okay, it might be hard to see on the iPad. I can see, visually, I can see all 4. Let me show you where they are. Let me try to get it centered up a little bit better for you. Okay. So if you can see right here, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's one right there. That one's really dim. So let me show you. I hate to lose this, but I'm going to try to overcompensate here a little bit, centering Jupiter, so I can show briefly the moons in the conjunction period on the Sky Safari app. By the way, the app I'm using is a fantastic app to show you the night sky. It's called Sky Safari. It's good for all levels of astronomers. And so let me show you how the moons ought to be lining up tonight. Let's see if it's syncing up with what I just showed you, and I think it is. So here are the lineups of the moons. Now, I'm not really seeing the moons around Saturn. But if you remember, we had Io was a little bit off of the lineup. So you got Europa, Callisto, Jupiter, Io, and Ganymede. So that's how, and I'm in a refractor, so the refractor has a mirror image. So let's go back. Hopefully, we're still gathering a good image here. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, here's the probably the Io right there, and this will be the Europa and Callisto. Oops, can you see my finger? There we go. Right here. Yeah, there's the 2 that are separated. If you can see those 2 moons, and then we have 2 moons that are closer together right there. So let me center that up again. Let's go back to the software. Yeah, Io and Ganymede. So Io is going to be the closest one in of these 2 that are separated. And then Europa's the furthest one out, and Callisto's in toward Jupiter on the 2 closer ones. So let's go back. So it's Europa, Callisto, Io, and Ganymede. Europa, Callisto, Io, and Ganymede. So here's what I'm saying. This is Europa, Callisto, Io is really hard to see right now, and Ganymede. So these are the 4 Galilean moons we're able to see really in binoculars. These are great views in binoculars. Never forget that. Okay. Still a pretty cool sight. I think, like I said, we were 10 arc seconds of separation tonight versus last night was about 6 to 7. I think by the time, if you were East Coast USA, it was probably even wider than that. But it's a beautiful sight naked eye as well right now. It looks just fantastic. It's going to look great in binoculars, and it's going to look great in even small refractor, small telescopes. So definitely an event to get out and check if you haven't already and your weather is working out for you. Let me check my notes to see if I've missed anything. 8-day-old moon. Okay. I'll take some requests. If anybody has requests out there to see something in particular, mainly the moon, since I'm not very well polar aligned. Oh yeah, I'm pretty far off polar alignment now that I see the North Star. But this would be the highlight for the night. We could go back to the moon and revisit the moon. It would take me just a few minutes to get that set back up, but I thought we had some really nice views, and I will revisit these live streams. I can do these from my backyard a lot easier once I get things polar aligned. Things work a little bit more smoothly. But yeah, it's a beauty of a view here. I think I'm just gonna, I'll tell you what I want to do. I'm gonna take a photo. What's my exposure here? Oops. A common thing that photographers would do with this situation is you would take two different exposures at least. One would be to expose properly for Jupiter, and the other one would be to expose for Saturn. And then you would blend those two images together. I think I'll just take an iPhone picture. Let me take a screen grab. Here, Mars, hold that. Just do a screenshot. When your fingers are cold, they don't work real well. Okay. Went with a little bit longer focal length tonight because I wanted to really get this separation. I really wanted to get some resolution on the planets to make sure that we could see some details. Especially, you don't want to do this if you can't make out Saturn's rings. So the ideal focal length would probably be just a little bit shorter than what we got here tonight. But again, I'll revisit that. We'll take one last look here at Saturn. This is a very common view you can get through most amateur telescopes that you would go out and buy. And you can easily see Saturn's rings in 7x50 binoculars. So please don't forget to check that out. Now the Jupiter view is a little bit overexposed because we're trying to get the Saturn exposure done right. But normally you would see multiple cloud bands in Jupiter's surface, and all those equatorial belts that are out there. And planetary amateur imagers have just really done amazing work in getting a Jupiter resolution in what is off-the-shelf type equipment in today's world. So it's very easily done, but most people can just... Now, with Jupiter, the best thing you can do in binoculars is see the Galilean moons. But tonight, you should be able to see Saturn's ring and the 4 Galilean moons all in the same field of view. Oh, ECP. Yes, I'm with you. No flying saucers. That's all 2020 needs, right? 2020 would be perfect. This would be a perfect night for flying saucer. Lyle Henderson, bacon, eggs, and French toast. Wow. I actually know where Lyle is. So, Lyle?
We're going to find him.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry. All right, guys. That's probably going to wrap it up. I think we had some pretty nice views of the event. We had some really nice moon views early on. And we just did a little bit of exposure here about the equipment we were using. So I'm going to do more live streams when I'm doing deep sky imaging. So if you like this, please join me. Again, technologically, it's a lot easier from my backyard. I can screen directly from the capture itself. So, but thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Tish. Thank you to Jones. Don't leave your dinner in the oven. The cook is out here visiting us now. Trying to think of the next astronomical event. We probably have a lunar eclipse that would probably be one of the nice events to check out here in the future. So thank you, ECP. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the ECP who joined us. Thanks for all the thumbs up. Thanks for checking us out. Check out the channel. I just do a lot of astronomy stuff. And when we get back to doing live events, I'll be doing some live broadcasting from star parties. We'll review some more equipment. We will start to do some deep sky imaging, and I'll just share what I'm working on in deep sky imaging projects and kind of what the information is on the various objects that we're working on. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all. Let me see, Chris. I can't see the chat. Maybe I can. Oh, here we go. Don't know if I missed anything on the chat. Were there any questions I need to pick up on? Hey, thank you, Stack Attacker. Really appreciate it. This was a pretty cool event. I'll wait just another second or two here. Don't want to leave anything out. It's kind of hard to follow the chat during the process. But I hope everybody got to see what they wanted. I hope you got to see it in person. And if you get a chance, get to a star party. There's probably one in your region. And astronomers are more than willing to share their views with you at a star party. It's a great thing to do if you're even considering buying a telescope. I know we're in the Christmas season and people start to think of buying a telescope. I do have a recommendation on what telescope to get. So if you have questions, please let me know. Just reach out to me in email. So I think I'm going to wrap it up, Chris. ECP. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Have a great evening and clear skies.